The title of this video is 5 things that every man must master, but it's really about the different pillars of life that I've kind of come across in my own life that I find are the most important in making sure that you are a well-rounded whole man. And it's difficult to stay up to par to master each one individually without others falling off, because it's just how life goes. You have certain things that are more important in certain moments, others that are more important in others, and finding a balance to make sure you categorize and put time into each one is difficult. However, these are the 6 things that I believe every man must master in the form of what he can do to make sure he is a well-rounded man. So first is your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being, emotional, intellectual, and financial well-being. And lastly, the 7th thing that I typically like to throw in there, which is, those are the 6, but the 7th is your relationships. Now, relationships aren't just something that are focused on how you interact with one person or people. It's how you have a relationship and boundaries with everything in your life. Relationships is how you are able to balance your life with work, how you're able to balance your life with children, your relationship with your children, your relationship with vices, drugs, lust, sex, women, with money. You have a relationship with those things, and how is that relationship with those things determines overall how your relationship is. And generally speaking, how you carry yourself and how you have relationships with some of the major things in your life is how you're going to have relationships with multiple things in your life. So if you are an addictive behavior type of person, when you do get a woman or you do find someone, you have an addictive behavior because your relationship with other things are also addictive. So if you're addicted to video games, you're addicted to lust, you're addicted to pornography, you're addicted to all these different things that men can find themselves attached to. When you get a woman that you may really like or someone that you want to chase after or instead of attract, you'll find yourself being addicted to that thing, that person. And it's because of how you define relationships with things, not just relationships with people. So the last thing is definitely relationships. Now we're going to go down each one and talk about why they're important and, kind of like my experience with them. But hopefully this can kind of give you an idea of some of the 6 pillars. If you break them out, I believe they can make you a well-rounded person as a whole, but men in general. Now, mentally, spiritual, and emotional, I like to tie together, right? I think those 3 you cannot have without the other. You can't be a mentally strong man without having some form of understanding spiritually. Like, if you haven't gone through something really tough and you understand that you have no control over it, meaning there's something higher than you, your mental isn't really in check. You're operating out of ignorance in a sense, but also thinking that you control a lot. Then you have if you operate in a strong spiritual, but your mental's not together, what are you really operating out of, right? And then your emotional, if you're emotionally stable, but you don't believe in God, you don't believe that there's something higher than you, and your mental's not together, so things can't bother you per se, but you aren't okay with yourself. What are you really, right? So making sure that your mental is in check, making sure that you know how to handle situations, knowing that you have been through things, gone through things, will go through things, and how you handle them, look at them, and perceive them so that you can take the right steps to make the right choices that you're okay with mentally, right? When things come your way, when you put things out, understanding that they can have repercussions, good and bad, those are the things that you have to take into consideration. So mentally making sure that you are okay with what actions you choose to put out into the world and anything that can come back from that. So mentally make sure you're in check. Next is your spiritual, understanding that I've learned at this point in my life that the spiritual isn't necessarily how you practice. We try to get caught up so much in how you practice. I like different portions of different religions because certain religions have different ways of practicing that dedicate themselves to a higher power that I can respect, right? Like, I like religions that require yourselves to clothe yourself a certain way because it's how you are portrayed. It's the temple, the body that God gave you. I like how certain religions pray every day. And I'm not naming the religions because I might say they're wrong, but certain religions pray 7 times a day, right? Certain religions fast. Certain religions align themselves with certain things that put them in a place where the higher power, their God in general, is they're humbling themselves to something that is higher because they know they have zero control over certain things that happen in their life. You have control over what you can do, but God, I promise you, has all the control over what comes out of it. So getting your spiritual in check, right? Understanding that you have really no control over what happens. You have control over everything, that what you do, but the outcome of it you never know how it'll play out, right? I have too many instances and stories of situations where you may believe something's going to happen and the opposite happens. And truly the only thing that stopped that or changed that or controlled that was the man above, right? So understanding your perspective in what you can do versus what you can't, understanding how you want to practice that aligns yourself with whatever morals, values you have set in line with what you believe in from a higher power standpoint. So you're spiritual. That's number two. And then lastly, emotionally. I feel like these three go together and they can be interchanged depending on how you speak in certain situations and scenarios. But emotionally, now we're talking about a situation where it's how you respond to certain things, how you react to certain things, right? The things that go your way, the things that didn't go your way, the things that you expected, didn't expect, that you knew, that you didn't know. All these things are your reactions. Honestly, to me, your emotional response, your reaction is natural. You can't control your reaction. You can control your response, but your response is dictated based on your mental well-being, your spiritual alignment, and then emotionally, if you have gone through certain things to make you stable or not, right? If your mentality, the information, the knowledge that you've received from other people allows you to be focused enough on aligning yourself still with whatever morals and values you have for your life, right? So emotionally, you need to be, I don't like the idea that men shouldn't be emotional per se, because we have them. We always talk about them. We don't have a lot of times you don't have a safe place to do it, but I mean, by the grace of God, I do. But it's a matter of, I'm gonna keep it simple. Your emotional is simply how you respond to situations. Your reactions you cannot control, but the way that you respond is important. You may feel certain things, but you know that you need to wait a second. You know that you need to be patient. You know that you need to be dedicated. You know that you need to be calm in certain moments, because your calmness may give you a reaction that your calmness will give you a response that is better dictated for what you align yourself with spiritually and mentally. But if you react one way, which is typically natural based on your experiences, but your response is alignment with your reaction rather than taking a second, whether that's a high reaction or a low reaction, meaning you're sad and upset and angry, or you're high, meaning you're gullible and you're happy and just really enthusiastic. Having a response in either of those two extremes can be dangerous depending on the situation, right? You have to make sure that you're at a level-headed standpoint before you do certain things as a man, because if you do things, if you have a reaction that is happy, excited, and you go into something because you were happy, not understanding the repercussions of it, that can be dangerous. If you go into something being upset, angry, and frustrated, and then you go into it, and then you don't realize that the repercussions, and these aren't really repercussions, but the outcome of it can be good or bad, then you put yourself at a disadvantage. When you make decisions at a emotionally stable standpoint, you get a chance to perceive all of the outcomes that could come with whatever situation that you're willing to put yourself into. So those three go together, and they're really important that you are aligned mentally, spiritually, and emotionally with a higher power, because that gives you a chance to really perceive things at a level-headed standpoint, so that you can make the best decisions for yourself and what you truly want at a neutral point in life, right? Even through difficult situations, you can make better decisions because you have a strong foundation internally. And all those things are just purely internal factors of life. Now, physical, intellectual, and financial. These aren't categorized, but these are the last three. Physical, I believe that you need to push yourself. Like, if you've never pushed your body and you don't know what you're capable of, it's like having a car that is capable of doing extreme performance, but it was in the wrong hands. It was in the wrong hands of the right person, in a sense, meaning you don't really know what you have in front of you, and somebody else would take that exact same situation and use it better. You have an amazing body. If you can walk, if you can move, you have, even if you don't have a leg, a arm, certain fingers, you still are blessed to a certain degree that you can still function and be physical in some aspect of life. And I think you need to make sure that you get on top of that as far as pushing yourself, push yourself, push yourself, push yourself, go fail. I think that's the biggest thing. Go fail, try, mess up, and then put yourself in a situation where you can do it again. As long as you don't, in life, I think the biggest thing that you can take out is if you don't die, you're blessed. The worst thing that can happen, and it depends on how you look at it, but on earth, the worst thing that can happen is you die. And if you don't die from your choices, you don't die from your values and what you align with, God will give you another chance. As long as you wake up the next day, you have a chance and you're blessed. So take that and go with it. Like, make sure that you try again. Try again. Like, okay, I've failed. Go try again. You can take that in every aspect of life that we're talking about now, but right now we're talking about the physical. Push yourself. Set a goal. Go try to achieve it. Fail. Try it again. Go try to achieve it. Fail. It's continuous innovation, like innovate, not just your mind, but your body as well. Have a goal. If you want to be lean, go for it. If you want to be bulky, go for it. Whatever you find best suits you, not what other people perceive is best for you, but what you feel best. Because you're going to find out, for instance, I have been extremely low in weight, meaning 160 and some change, 170 pounds, meaning I was super lean, and I've been as high as 200 pounds intentionally. I don't like the feeling of 200 and borderline the look as well. I don't like the look of 170, but I love the feel. And I found that good medium of like 180 is like where I look good and I feel good. And that's what I'm okay with for myself. But you have to find that. You have to go fail on your own. You have to go try on your own. And then you'll have an understanding of physically, this is what I like. Mentally, this makes me feel well. Because you'll start learning more about yourself, whether that's dieting, whether that's how to work out, what works for you, what parts of your body are weaker. You'll understand you better than anybody else. And that's the biggest blessing, is knowing yourself. Because when you're okay with you, you can be okay with how everybody else runs the world, whatever they choose to do with their life, because you internally are okay. If you're never okay with yourself, you can never be okay with anybody else. It's just how it works. Even if you think you are, you're not. And then now we'll go into intellectual. I think this is one that we don't really push in the States a lot, is being smart. Like, challenge yourself. The same way we talked about challenging your body, challenge your mind. I have a book right in front of me. It's called Preparación del Examen de GED. It's like a preparation book for GED, like learning all the basic things that you learned in high school, but in Spanish. And I'm learning it right now all in Spanish because I want to challenge myself. I want to be able to communicate on a high school level, like information-wise, knowledge-wise, in Spanish, but really well. So challenge yourself. Find things to challenge yourself. Go learn a new language. Go learn something with computers. Go learn something with medicine. Go learn something with legalities and lawyers. Whatever you choose, challenge yourself. If you want to be the best cinematographer, go find different ways to set up lighting. Go find different ways to compose your shot. Whatever it is, love what you do, choose to do it, and do it better than anybody else, and push yourself to be the best. Whatever you do as a guy, as a man, you should push yourself to be the best. There are people that sell tissue paper for a living and make millions of dollars because they chose to be the best at it. Go be the best at what you do. I swear it'll be the best. The best reward, the best feeling is that you chose something that you love and you did it better than anybody else. And you were great at it. Just trust yourself, believe in yourself. But that comes back to the first two. You go through mental challenges, you go through spiritual challenges and emotional challenges that allow you to have the mentality to even do it. And then lastly, we talk about financial. And a lot of men, all men for the most part, focus on this to some degree. It's the ability to provide for yourself, the ability to provide for family, the ability to provide for someone other than yourself, and even just yourself, right? Where people know that they can count on you to provide for them. And providing can be shelter, providing can be well, if we're talking about the other aspects, we'll get back to that. Providing financially, food, shelter, water, clothing, your basic necessities and more, especially if you have children, this allows you to say, hey, I can give you opportunities, I can give you experiences. That's a big thing because sometimes children can't do that for themselves and they look up to their parents to do it. And you have to be that thing. You have to be that person, that role model, that superhero, right? So financially, it's difficult. But I think you have to be willing. There's two aspects to it. It depends on where you are in life. At one point in my life, I was willing to do anything to make money. Now I'm more aligned with values. If I look back 20 years, 10 years, 5 years from now, will I be okay with myself knowing that I did this thing? If yes, go for it. Please do. If not, then I have to reevaluate. Depends on where you are in life. I don't have a problem with either one because I've been in both situations. But you have to understand where you are. Is money so important to me right now that I'm willing to do anything for it? Or do I have morals and values that I need to stand for, which aligns to your mental, spiritual, and emotional, that say, that doesn't sit right with me, right? You can make a lot of money in both spectrums, both terms, just being yourself versus doing anything, both work. It's just what are you okay with for yourself? And as a man in this, the purpose of this video, I think the biggest thing is, what are you okay with? Are you okay with the choices that you make? Are you okay with your mentality? Are you okay with your physical well-being? Are you okay with how you align spiritually? Are you okay emotionally? Do you handle situations properly? Are you okay intellectually? Do you feel like you're smart enough to put yourself in rooms that you care about at least, and be able to hold your own, right? Are you okay financially where you are? If you are, that's fine. If not, then you have to do some reevaluating. So that's where I would change the thought process. Where are you within these things? Because some men don't care about certain things, and that's okay. But you have to understand what's okay for you and what's not. But those are the 6 pillars. And the final part of financial is, it's really a grind. You have to be willing to get your feet wet. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to be the worst in one room so you can be the best in another, right? And a lot of these steps that you have to go through in life are tailored for you to, at one point, be the worst in one room so you can be the best or better in another, better in another, better in another, and eventually you'll be the best if you keep at it, all right? But the important part is you have to keep at it. Now, lastly, we talked about relationships. We talked about 6 different pillars of life, right? If you put all your focus in your mental, your physical can fall off, your financial can fall off, your intellectual can fall off, your emotional can fall off, your spiritual can fall off. If I put all my focus in financial, which we see a lot of times, your intellectual can fall off depending on how you view it, depending on what you do for work to gain finances. Your mental can fall off. We see that a lot. Your physical can be horrible because all you do is work, 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 right? That can be internal, meaning you're dying. That can be external, meaning you have fat and you don't take care of yourself. You have no definition. You have no strength to yourself, right? All these things. Your spiritual is off because you're so focused on money. If I'm not mistaken, it's a quote, and God said, you can't, I'm going to quote it wrong, but the gist of it is, you can't praise, you can't work for 2 gods. It's impossible. You can't work for God, myself, and you can't work for money. You have to choose one, right? So, all these other aspects of your life will begin to fall off if you focus on one. So you have to have some form of balance, and that is your relationship with these things. So make sure your relationship with these things is in line. Set up to-do lists, set up checklists, set up check-ins with people if you have strong people that are on the same mindset and path as you. That way you make sure that both of you are aligned in that aspect to grow and hold each other accountable. All these things are super important. And when you have people that make sure that you are okay in those aspects of life, you're likely to grow. You won't fall behind. They'll check you on it, right? And having a group of people can help. That is also a relationship. So relationships with these things are the most important aspect of making sure that you are growing. How you define, how you set boundaries, what you allow, what you don't allow, what you allow into your life, what you allow out. All these things are your relationships with each of these specific pillars of your life. And they're super important to follow to make sure that you are just grounded and a strong, solid man all around. So I say all that to say, these are the 6 things plus relationships that you really need to make sure that you stay grounded in to be a holistic man as a whole, right? And if you look at all these things and you compose yourself, there's nothing in life that is not related to one of these 6 things. You talk about money, you have finance. You talk about your well-being, physical, internal. That can be physical well-being, your mental well-being. If you talk about relationships with women, etc., that can be all of those things. You take care of those 6 pillars, you put yourself in a position to understand what type of woman you want to attract, not chase. You put yourself in a position where you can have a strong boundary of what you will and will not allow into your life. It allows you to be a better man in the form of what I'm willing to lead with, right? Because you've established yourself in certain ways, right? You just go through certain parts of life that teach you things, right, wrong, failure, wins, that allow you to essentially just be a better man all around. That's for yourself and for others. So I like to end my videos with this because I am completely random, but I am proud to be named after my pop. So I do this on all my videos. My name is Wesley Watkins Jr. That's emphasis on the junior, and we'll see you in the next video.